Now, an FBI affidavit explaining the justification for the search on Mar-a-Lago shows that 14 of the 15 boxes recovered by the National Archives earlier in this year contained documents with classification markings, some even top secret. While the affidavit is heavily redacted, it offers the most detailed description of the records stored at the former President Donald Trump's estate in Florida. For more on this story, we can go across to France 24's Ketevan Gojestani standing by in Washington. Ketevan, what more can you tell us?
Well, the 38 pages of this affidavit, out of those 38 pages, almost half of it is quite heavily redacted. But as you said, there's still plenty of information to unpack in that affidavit. And part of it is that information about those 15 boxes that were recovered by the National Archives back in January. 184 classified documents were found in those 14 out of 15 boxes. And among those 184 documents, there were 67 of them that were confidential, 92 of them were secret, and 25 of them were top secret. And this information is used in this affidavit to justify the reasoning behind the search of the FBI at Mar-a-Lago, basically saying that if the National Archive recovered some of these classified documents that were held at Mar-a-Lago, then there might be some probable cause to find evidence of obstruction from people in Mar-a-Lago, but also possible evidence of crimes being committed, and possibly the fact that there could be more of those classified documents to be found on those premises. And so there were main goals of the investigations that were laid out in this affidavit, because that was really the argument in this affidavit, why it was necessary to perform that search at the home of the former president. And some of those main goals were to find out how those classified documents were removed from the White House, and then how they were handled, and then how they were stored at Mar-a-Lago. What sort of a location were they stored in? Was it a secure location, which is something that the FBI says was not really the case? And then they wanted to know whether there were classified documents, more classified documents on those premises. And they wanted also to know who was involved in the transport of those classified documents and the handling of those documents, as well as whether these storage locations at Mar-a-Lago were actually authorized or not. So a lot of things in this affidavit that is really the reasoning that was accepted by the judge when he signed off on that search warrant, which allowed the FBI to go to Mar-a-Lago and to investigate and to retrieve more documents, which we still don't know a lot about, but could come out later on. But the idea between the redaction of the affidavit was to protect this ongoing investigation, because the FBI says they're not done. They still are looking through some of those documents, and they don't want to give a roadmap as to what their investigation is going to look for in the future.
Well, Ketevan, a lot of details emerging, even though we don't have a lot of information itself. Tell us, has there been any reaction from either the current president or the previous president, Donald Trump?
Well, as you can expect, the former president, Donald Trump, reacted very quickly on his own social media platform, on Truth Social, and he blasted this affidavit, saying it was heavily redacted. He called the search warrant a total public relations subterfuge, and he also blasted the judge that authorized the search warrant and the judge that authorized the redaction of this affidavit, saying that this judge was biased against him and had been biased against him for years now, ending his statement by saying that Obama must be very proud of him right now, referring possibly to a donation that the judge had made to the former President Obama a while back in 2008. The current president, Joe Biden, also reacting to the situation. He was asked just a little bit earlier, before leaving the White House behind me, whether there were any situations or documents that warrant warranted a president taking them to his private home. And the president said that depending on the type of document and depending on how secure the location was, that could be warranted. He gave the example of the presidential daily brief. He said, I am taking it back with me to Delaware, for example, but he said that he was accompanied by a military person who was securing the document, that he would read it and then give it back to that military person who would lock that document away. And so he said that it could be warranted, but that he had a system in place with people who made sure that there was a very secure location in his private home to store those secret documents. And that is why he felt that it could be warranted in some cases.
Kethaman, thank you very much for that. Kethaman Gojastani reporting there from the White House.